You clearly are very passionate about data and data visualization. So why do you think data visualization is so important in marketing?
Well, because I feel like the folks who are making decisions need to be making, or are always wanting to make them with pithy examples, with things that resonate to them, with things that speak to them in a very quick manner. So if you're working with your CMO, or if you're working with any of the executives, you need something. If they've asked for something, they literally have to have a question in mind. So what is X doing to Y doing to Z? So you're going to come up with that, and then you're going to display it in the simplest, quickest terms that they can see, right? So, you can sit down with them and explain things and geek out the way we all do, everyone in this room does. But having data visualizations is really important because the folks who are looking at them are the most important part. So you can have all the data you want, but if it's not understood, I mean, it's like any type of communications. Like I said, my bachelor's in communications, one of the first things, or one of the most important things I learned with that degree was what you say doesn't actually matter, how it's perceived matters.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing is not, it doesn't mean anything unless it's perceived the way you want, and if it's not, then it still means something. It's just could be scary. So you gotta understand your audience. So
yeah,
that's why I think it's important.
Yeah, that really resonates to me. I think it's with me. I think it's like a lifelong in general,
Sure.
Learning.
You can use this in any part of your life. Like you don't have to use this for data visualization.
Intention versus perception.
Yes, exactly.
Really.
Yeah. I mean, intentions matter on like a moral standpoint,
yeah.
But if you're making these decisions, everyone can understand. It's how it's perceived. So.
Yeah. And when you're getting into data visualizations, you said decision makers, you need something fast,
right.
How do you, as the person creating those visualizations, what is your biggest challenge, do you think, making something that they will understand, that maybe they don't know what to ask for,
right,
but you might see it a different way, or
exactly.
How did you learn to know that this is the best way to communicate that to them?
Trial and error, and also I've worked with starting up, not as much anymore. I've got this may be an aside, but a little bit jaded from working with executives because I did that at the beginning of my career for so long. And from that, I learned what they were actually going to want or see or look at. And if they don't get what they want, they're going to put that on you. So you have to make sure you start out with asking every single question that they could possibly need to have answered, whether that is the metrics and dimensions, or because that's what a lot of analytics folks focus on. But think about business needs. Think about what are they looking for? What are they focusing on? Think about branding. Think about how they want their visualization to look. And if you're in an agency, co-branding is a huge thing. You need to have a little bit of yourself there to show that you're doing this work. And then, but if this is ultimately going to a C-level executive, you need to make sure that it is familiar to them to look at. They don't want to look at just a bunch of bars and charts all day. They want to look at something that reminds them of the brand that they work for. So what I do is I usually scrape the DOM of their website. I find visuals, I get the CSS, I make sure that everything that I have is as familiar to them as I can possibly make it. So
that's, trial and error and learning through experience and asking all the questions makes a lot of sense. I have grabbed hex codes for Looker Studio boards before.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
It's important.